Hi, this is Sue from the Mountain Canary Company. Ed's going to visit with you about talking to your animals. Go ahead, Ed.
Hi folks, thank you for coming by today to visit. Talking to your animals is so critical, I believe, in a day-to-day, work-a-day life of an animal, horse or a mule, and their driver or rider. In the show ring, I know these judge-type people probably don't like to have you say a word to the animal. You want to see all this special movements. Well, in the workaday world where you're packing, trail riding either flatland or high country, or if you're working a team, voice commands are real critical, I believe. I don't think there's something that is just a novelty. I think they're critical. For example, you've got a fellow cultivating a row of beans, and he's got two animals, plow animals, or one plow animal working, and he's got two hands on the handles of the plow, and the reins are looped and they're over his neck dragging. And most of what he's going to do is going to be talking to that animal. Gee, ha, whoa, and some back. He can't back too far because of the plow. If you hook that horse up to harness on a wagon, or mules to a wagon, you can get out there as far as 20 or so animals. That means be teams of two each, so it'd be 10 animals out there. You get to a point after 4 animals, the teamster's got so many reins in his hands that he can hardly operate this thing. It's a big deal. And so he's still relying on a lot of voice commands, the gees, the haws, the woes, and then sometimes even individual command items. When one of the animals gets misbehaving, or his lead animals, he communicates with those directly. Those are so critical to him. If you go to a 20 mule team that runs with one rein, the two lead animals are hooked together, but this jerk line, 1 or 2 jerks, or 3 jerks, and voice commands are critical. So it's something we're missing out on. I know in the show ring probably you're going to lose points for telling your animal, talking to your animal. But that's too bad. That's not our real world. If you, again, hit to the trails or go to work with an animal, you got to be able to talk to them also. It's also a confidence builder. I have had several times where I've had an animal get boogery on me, get scared, or have themselves in a bad situation that I had to get them out of, that they weren't exactly sure how they're going to get out and they're scared. And with that, I've developed what I call a mantra. And how I apply that mantra has worked so well for me. And I want you to give it a thought. I'll take it by calling the animal's name. Well, say Josie, because poor little Josie, for some reason, has had more adventures to this than others have. And I'll say Josie, and I'll try to touch her if I can, try to get a hold of her commander, her controller, and I'll start talking. Josie, it's okay, dear. It's okay. It's okay, baby. You can do this. It's okay. It's okay. You can do this. It's okay. You can do this. Drop my voice down to about talking to a 5-year-old, and then smooth way through it. Even though I'm scared to death at the moment, I have got to take command of this, and my voice has to show that level of control. I've seen them calm right down. You got to watch their eye. Their eye goes from this to back to almost to normal. They're nervous. They could hit the moon any second, but you've brought them down. So that's really. But at that point, though, they have to be used to listening to you. When you go out with your animals to feed, and they're all standing around out there, call one of their names. Polly, ears come up, head looks to me. They know their names. Kitty, Josie, whatever, they know their names. They look at me. Now that's critical because they're recognizing I'm speaking to them. I'm speaking to them in a group. If I've got them in a pack strain, somebody's messing around. Polly, obviously. Polly's out there goofing off back there. Polly, knock it off. What are you doing back there? She'll go, and raise my voice, and I'll get to a point where I'm displeased with her. And a lot of times Polly goes, she'll know, she'll look right at me. Her ears will come up, she'll look right at me. And a lot of times she has gone, oh, maybe I better not do this. So, the voice communications and developing that level of communication with your individual animals is, I believe, at times can make the difference between life and death. So, I had a problem with where I'm worked a lot up in the Dosey Wallops, especially years ago when you put the trails in, the trees next to them were saplings, little bitty things. And they've grown into darn big trees, and now they're integrated into the trail, and there's no place, because the steep side hills, there's no place for that really to carve around them much on an uphill side. So when I'm going into there, I'm, trucking along, I'll reach over and touch a tree. Wake up, girls, tree. Wake up, girls, tree. Because it's so narrow that even though they know their widths, they're back there snoozing. Hot summer day, plunk, plunk, plunk. They're snoozing. Wake up, girls. And I'll pick one. Pick one. Call her name. To make sure she startles awake. Make sure. So, because now they know I'm actually talking to individually if I have to. So, I mean, that's all works into the day-to-day work-a-day for a trail rider or a packer in the mountains. It gets you by. It gets you by these tough situations. I don't know if I told this story. I was in a bad situation one time where I found a little boy sitting next to the trail on a downhill side. It was no place. It was straight down. He'd stopped there. He was a little Boy Scout. He'd stopped there. He was terrified. He would not speak to me. He would not speak. He was so shy. I tried to talk to him, and he wouldn't do it. And in the meantime, another couple pack strings come in behind me. Now we're all in a bad situation where they're moving around and there isn't a spot to stand. This is a terrible spot. So I had to go by him. And as I went by him, I spoke to the crew, to the gang. Little boy, look there, little boy. I'm emphasizing. I'm overemphasizing. Little boy, look, little boy. Now, they don't know what little boy means, but they know that something down there. I'm speaking to them. As each one of them went by, I called their name to point their attention to it. I told the story about some people that walked through the backstring. Well, again, there I was. I called each one of the animals' names, said, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, so that they knew I was here as this thing was going down. Several times I've done this with a bad situation, bad water crossings, wherever, just stuff where it's not normal. I've been able to talk to them and give them confidence that I'm there with them. All that stuff is critical. It really, I believe, is critical. I've had mules try to talk to me. You say, okay, Ed, sure, yeah, you're smoking some wacky tobacco, but in reality, I have. I was working up in the park up on First Divide, 3-day run. Something on my camel bag slipped around and tore a hole in Monty's back. I didn't see it until we, when she wasn't cut in half, but she had a sore spot. I didn't see it until I got back to camp that night, and I had another day to come out. So I tossed and turned until I figured out that Monty's saddle fit Darla, and Darla's work pack saddle fit Monty, and I could swap them out. So I did that. Got all that pressure off that sore. I was able to get the pressure off that sore because Darla was coming out with empty boxes. So next morning, I usually turn them out, let them. I don't do much with them until they get in here. I try to let them decompress, and I've been pestering them for 3 days. I've tried to get them decompressed, get some grass, roll, be a mule for a little while. And the next morning I'll come out. I staggered out that one morning with a cup of coffee, and Sue was all ahead of me out there. That was a Friday, so it was Saturday. She was out there feeding, and I'm going around now, kind of half awake, half asleep, checking for sore spots, and picking up shoes, checking shoes, and had Darla's left foot up, and somebody walked up and bit me in the back of the leg. Now, I'm not talking about tear a piece of meat out. Well, that gave me a little nub nip. And it wasn't, they even left a mark, but it sure got my attention. I popped up, and I'm ready to kill whoever it was. There was Monty standing there staring at me. And she's staring at me. She wouldn't move. I'm ranting, raving, jumping up and down, looked like a monkey out there, and she didn't care. She just said, I'm making a point. And Sue asked me what I did, and I told her. She said, well, she simply quit. She said, Monty's telling you she isn't going back in the pack string. That's simply. And Monty has several times tried to communicate with me. So, taking that point to start with, and moving over here, if they have an effort to communicate with you, are willing to actually do something to communicate with you, to message you, well, you better use every tool you got to try to message them. Just reins and all this leg and butt and all this stuff in the seat is great. It's wonderful. But when the rubber meets the road for a trail rider or a packer, or where you're taking your animals any work condition where they could get themselves into trouble, or you can get in trouble with them, you best be having, it's all the communication you can develop. And one of the best levels of communication, I believe, is verbal. So you just try it. If you go out there in the morning and say, hey, so-and-so, and they don't stop, look up at you, put their ears up and look at you, you've missed it. You better start working at talking to them, letting them know what their name is, letting them know that you can talk directly to them, because that alone can be so valuable to you. I know, because it's been so valuable to me. You know, if it is, you're gonna, you know, if it doesn't work for you, well, it doesn't work for you. I believe it works for me. So you keep that, and you keep trying to do the best you can by your animals, and communication is one of the best things you can do for them. It'll make a long day a lot shorter. Well, folks, I thank you very much for coming by, and if you wouldn't mind to try to find it in your heart to take a look on the YouTube site there where you got to subscribe and share. Kind of send this out so other folks get more of it if you liked it. And until next time, please remember to ride as often as you can. Please ride safely.